Hey, looks like we've got a quorum, and we are duly constituted to do our work today. Thank y'all for being here to our seventh meeting of the Senate Standing State and Local Government Committee. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Byrd. Senator Harper Angel. Senator Mays Bledsoe. Senator McDaniel. Senator Storm. Senator Thayer. Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams. Senator Nemes. Senator Mills.
I'm here. And just for, if you want to take a look at the agenda, I think I've told everybody individually on the panel here, but House Bill 507, a bill related to jail construction and declaring emergency. We are going to be passing over that bill today. There will not be any action taken on that bill today. So if you are here, that bill will not be taken up today. So we have several other items on our agenda. The first item will be House Bill 506, which is Representative Walker Thomas's bill. If Representative Thomas wants to come to the podium, and anybody else that's with you, and just be aware that we have 5 items on our agenda. We have allotted maybe 10 minutes for you guys, or 5 or less. So welcome. If y'all could real quickly introduce yourself so we know who all's before us, and then we can talk about the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am State Representative Walker Thomas from House District 8 down Western Kentucky.
Brian O'Neill, Legislative Director for the Kentucky Professional Firefighters.
Sean Butler, Executive Director for the Kentucky Police Chiefs Association.
Brianna Carroll, Director of Public Affairs, Kentucky League of Cities.
Well, good morning, folks. The floor is yours.
Thank you. We appreciate you having us on House Bill 506. How this came about is I had some local officers, police officers in my district that had learned with different states having a system called DROP, Deferred Retirement Option Plan. And we had been studying it for probably a year or two. I think Brianna has been working on it for the last year or two. And we found that it would have a pretty big financial note on the state. So we shifted our focus, and now we're looking at a partial lump sum option plan. So this is for retirees. They would be able to log onto the website and see how much farther they would still have to work. They'd be taking part of their retirement out, but if they wanted to work, say, an extra 24 months, they might be able to get their monthly fee or monthly payouts back to where it was and still be able to pull a small partial of their money out of the plan. So that might help with some expenses they're already facing, but then be able to look at this calculator, and it would tell them how much longer they'd have to work to be able to still stay whole on their payments that we would be paying out. So this is allowing them to take out some of their money that they already have invested in our system. The other thing it does is we have scattered all over the state from 90 days before you have to come back to work or can come back to work. This just makes everybody uniform at 30 days. So I will let any of them add to it, or?
Would you guys? Okay.
Well, must have described it better than I thought. So,
good. Any questions? Senator Byrd has a question.
Thank you. Is my microphone? Yeah, it's working. Thank you, sir. So basically, they can continue to work. They can draw partially off of their retirement. And then there will be a calculator that will let them know how much longer they have to work to make their retirement whole.
This provides that they can, for when they retire, instead of the monthly payments, it allows them to take a partial lump sum option on top of their monthly payments as well. It's always been on the books so that there was confusion before. Individuals thought that their retirement was reduced. And so what we did was we also asked, we worked with Kentucky Public Pensions Authority and said, can you also incorporate a benefit calculator so that individuals, there's more transparency with what the individuals are doing as well as when you counsel them, so that now there will be a benefit calculator so individuals can see what their retirement is, whatever that amount is that they choose as a lump sum to withdraw off of their retirement when they retire. Then they can see that, and then they'll also see with that lump sum that they are withdrawing, they'll see what their monthly payment is as well. So they'll know how much longer they need to work to be able to get that monthly payment back up to what they want.
And so then, can I
may.
follow? Because my question was, do we have some sort of protection in there? Like, is there? I mean, I don't want somebody to be able to inadvertently blow through their retirement without even realizing it. Is there a stop at which point it's they know they can't just keep going?
You can only do it for a period. There's, in the language, it's 12, 24, 36, 48, and 60 months options for the payment.
And that's enough to protect the integrity of the basis of their
Yes.
retirement.
The actuary said it's zero, no impact to the system.
Thank you. That's what I wanted. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Just a couple questions. So, do y'all consider this a workforce bill? Is that correct?
It is definitely, yeah. We're trying to keep some of these young men and women that are retiring at pretty early ages to be able to have the ability to stay on, maybe draw a little bit to help with their finances, but then be able to work a little bit longer and keep that uniformity in our police and our fire departments, because these are already well-trained people that have been doing the jobs for years. This has already been vetted through PPOB, also the Public Protection or Public Pension Board.
And that was my next question.
It was,
This has
yes.
been vetted with PPOB. Senator Mays Bledsoe, do you have a question? Okay. All right. Any other questions? The motion will be in order. We have a motion from Senator Mays Bledsoe, second from Senator Williams. Sorry. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Berg. Senator Harper Angel. Senator Mays Bledsoe. Senator McDaniel. Senator Nemus.
Aye.
Senator Storm.
Aye.
Senator Thayer. Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams. Senator Mills.
I vote aye. House Bill 506 passes a favorable expression with the expression the same shall pass on the Senate floor 9-0. Is there a motion for consent? Okay, have a motion second for consent. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Your bill moves to consent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen. Before we move on, we have, I just want to make note of our city officials that are here today supporting us, and I believe Senator Thayer, Senator Thayer has an announcement.
Just an introduction. I'd like to introduce the mayor of the greatly named city of Independence, Mayor Chris Reinersman, along with City Councilwoman Carol Franzen. They're both here from Northern Kentucky, and also our Grant County Clerk, Tabitha Clemens. She is here today as well. So I'd like to welcome them.
Very good. And I know that we've had a couple other members walk in the room. We are passing over House Bill 507, the jail moratorium bill. We'll be passing over that today. No action will be taken. So the next item is House Bill 401, which is Representative Hale's bill. Representative Thomas is filling in for Representative Hale due to he has another commitment in another committee meeting, which is occurring many times today. So, Representative Thomas.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Chairman Hale is over at the Rotunda right now leading our state in the prayer caucus, and we appreciate him doing that. So HB 401, he tells me is a very simple bill. I guess we hear that often. Has to do with our state police. It's a reorganization bill. It does only one thing. It adds the position of a director over the Division of Records Management appointed by the Commissioner of the KSP, Kentucky State Police, which will primarily monitor the body cameras that Kentucky State
Motion.
Police will be using.
Okay, we have a motion. Who's the motion by? Motion by Senator Daniel, second by Senator Williams. Any other questions? I'll just note that this is an important bill that helps expedite the proper use and data storage of the body cams that we're implementing through the state police, and I believe it's a good bill. So, any other questions or concerns? We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Byrd. Senator Harper Angel. Senator Mays Bledsoe. Senator McDaniel. Senator Nemus.
Aye.
Senator Storm. Senator Thayer. Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams. Senator Mills.
I vote aye. 9. This passes 9-0. And I'd like to hold this out and talk about this on the floor, if you don't mind. And as far as not moving that on to consent, but this bill passes 9-0. So thank you, Representative Thomas.
Thank you, members.
The next item is House Bill 329, it's Representative Hart's bill related to government contract review. Representative Hart, welcome to our committee. If you can introduce yourselves, and the floor will be yours. 329. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members, Representative Hart, 78th House District. House Bill 329, it's a bill that went through session last year. There was a court challenge on it, and we've addressed the ruling of the court with this new bill. Basically, House Bill 329, it fixes an interpretation issue from House Bill 388 from last year, where the circuit court found that contracts dealing with enumerated gubernatorial powers were automatically canceled if not revised per the committee recommendations. This bill makes absolutely clear that the recommendation of the committee is non-binding and that the executive branch retains the final say in the exercise of contracting authority. It is not an appeal of a binding decision of the committee. The committee reviews the contract. The committee assesses whether unnecessary or inappropriate. If so, the contract is sent to the state treasurer with the committee's non-binding recommendation for review. Under current law, the contract goes to the finance cabinet for review. This change just puts another set of eyes in the executive branch on a proposed contract. Once the treasurer reviews a contract, she determines whether it remains effective, it should be canceled, or to propose revisions for the finance cabinet to consider. The power exercised is an executive power and is being properly delegated by the General Assembly to an executive branch constitutional officer. This does not apply to emergency contracts or contracts necessary in the exercise of powers specifically granted to the governor by enumerated sections of our Constitution. Any such contracts would proceed under current law for determination by the finance cabinet.
Very good. Any questions from our board?
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion. Is there a second? A second from Senator Williams. I'll just make note that this is a very important legislative oversight committee, and this is giving some more pool to our oversight for executive contracts. There's millions of dollars that are spent by the state of Kentucky that are reviewed by contract review, and I think this is a good bill. So, Representative Hart, thank you so much. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Byrd. Senator Harper Angel. Senator Mays Bledsoe. Senator McDaniel. Senator Nemus. Senator Storm. Senator Thayer. Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams. Senator Mills.
I vote aye. Good. House Bill 329 passes with favorable expression. Same shall pass on the Senate floor 9-0. Is there a motion for consent? A motion and a second for consent. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Representative Hart, your bill moves on to our consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is House Bill 522. Representative Lawrence is here, I believe, yes. And he has some guests that we all know. But if y'all could introduce yourselves for the record, and the floor will be yours.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee. Representative Lawrence, the 70th House District. I have a few guests with me, a veteran you all probably know, so I'll let them introduce themselves.
John Sims, Fleming County Judge Executive.
And Todd Ruckel, Executive Director, County Judge Executive Association.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. The floor is yours.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank you guys for having us here today. 522 is a bill that was actually pretty similar to what our former Representative John Sims had run in 2019, raising the procurement rates from 20 to 30,000. This bill will raise those rates from 30 to 40,000.
We have a motion. Is there a second? A second from Senator Nemus. Any other comments?
We must have done a really good job. We'll take that.
All right, there you go. This is this is a good bill and helps folks. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Byrd, Senator Harper Angel, Senator Mays Bledsoe, Senator McDaniel, Senator Nemus,
Aye.
Senator Storm,
Aye.
Senator Thayer, Senator Wheeler, Senator Williams, Senator Mills.
I vote aye. House Bill 522 passes with favorable expression. Same shall pass on the Senate floor. It passed 9-0. There a motion for consent from Senator Nemus, second from Senator Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It lands on our consent agenda. Thank you,
Thank
gentlemen.
you all so much.
And I will make note that, we do move quickly here the last few days, but these bills have been vetted and looked at multiple times in review and leadership review, and we have vetted these well. So we are down to the last two items on our agenda, which are Senate resolutions that deal with the confirmation process, and these last two resolutions are related to Kentucky State University. The first item is Resolution 135, which is the confirmation resolution related to Robert Ramsey Sr. And I will, if Mr. Ramsey, if you're here, if you want to come forward, and I will mention that we will just be, this is for discussion only today. We have possibly a few questions that we want to ask. And but Mr. Ramsey, if you could have a seat and introduce yourself, and we will move forward. If you'd like to talk just a little bit about your position with Kentucky State for a minute or so, and then we may have a few questions. If you could hit your green button there and pull it to you so we could hear you. Yeah, if you could pull it to you, the microphone to you, to get it closer to you. I don't think so. Yeah. Okay.
Is that it?
There you go.
Oh, okay. Not the green button. It's the little dial.
There you go.
Okay. My name is Bob Ramsey. I live in Georgetown, Kentucky, and I am a board member of the Board of Regents at Kentucky State University. So it's an honor to serve on that board, and look forward to continuing to serve on the board. Thank you.
Senator Thayer has a question.
Yes, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ramsey, as a fellow Georgetown resident, it's good to see you here today.
Thank you, sir.
Do I know your brother?
Yeah, Derek.
I think
yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
Good to see you here today. How long have you been on the K-State board?
About 8 months now.
Very good. It's well documented that K-State is in serious financial trouble. The graduation rate is embarrassingly low for a state university that receives a significant appropriation of taxpayer dollars. What have you seen so far, and steps have you taken as a member of the board to help right the ship down the street at K-State?
Well, I would like to defer the majority of the answer to the Chair Patton, who will be reappointed during the next series of events that occur. Kentucky State is financially unstable at this point in time, but it took a while for it to get that way, and it's going to take a while for us to get it out of financial difficulties. And I think everyone that's on the board is forging forward trying to make that happen, and we will make it happen. It'll take a little while, but we will make that happen.
Yes, you may.
All right. Well, now Chairman Patton knows the question. I'm going to ask him next.
Yes.
So since you really didn't want to answer it, do you feel like your going to make the tough decisions.
I
get
will.
paid-
I will
because,
make the tough
because the
decisions.
taxpayers of Kentucky have, thanks to this General Assembly, have basically passed a bailout package for K-State, and not really very happy about that, to be honest. So I just want to hear it from you that you're ready to make tough decisions on righting the ship.
Yes, I am, and above board, and we want to make sure that Kentucky State is placed in a financially strong position.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Senator McDaniel has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ramsey, thank you for your willingness to serve on K-State's board. It is tough to go into an organization that was in the position that K-State found themselves in, and certainly appreciate your willingness to go in at a difficult time. That being said, I guess my comment, I'm going to have a comment that's sort of a question, and I'll leave it open for you at that point. Okay. You say it took a long time to get there, and you're probably right. The difficulty that the General Assembly really has is 6 months before the problem, the previous administration of Kentucky State was down here, had a really nice glossy presentation showing us how everything was absolute roses. It was going well, this, that, and the other. And literally 6 months later, the headline broke that there were huge financial holes. You will find that the General Assembly wants Kentucky State to be successful, but more importantly, we want the students to be served properly. Those young people who are counting on us and you as the responsible adults to make sure that their education is affordable and worthwhile and marketable when they finish. To that end, I want to go back to where I started with. Is there any intent from you or any of the other board members to in any way hold the previous administration accountable, or is there a way to hold the previous administration accountable for the condition in which they left Kentucky State?
We, the board, cannot hold, or at least I don't think we can. At this point in time, I would say that, the previous board did not pay close enough attention to what was going on at the university. I think the board that we have in place now will do a much better job, and we meet almost monthly now to try to ensure that we're moving the university into a positive direction. So,
very well. Well, again, thank you for your willingness to serve. And as much as reform is necessary, I think you'll find that we believe accountability for those. And if there is a mechanism to do it and you need help from us, our doors are always open.
Thank you
again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Senator Nemes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a comment, request, and a question. Mr. Ramsey, my comment is thank you very much for stepping into this. I don't know, it's jumping into the lake, I think, and trying to swim. And I appreciate that. My request is I've worked for your brother, and I want to, my request is that you will make the decisions and don't go by anything he says.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, my question is, will you do your best to inform us of what's going on, especially if something looks a little haywire to you?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good. Mr. Ramsey, I've just got a couple questions for you. Can you fill us in on your professional background, what you do for a living, and that's the first question.
I'm a retired military Air Force officer. From there, I became city commissioner in Lexington, Kentucky. From there, deputy secretary and then secretary of the personnel cabinet for the Commonwealth. And then I ran the benefits program for the U.S. Army for several years.
Okay. Are you a graduate of K-State?
I'm a graduate of Florida A&M University.
Florida A&M University.
And HBCU, of course.
Very good. And the final question, as far as you said you've been here 8 months on the board.
Yes,
sir. What has your attendance been for those 8 months? Have you made all 8 of your meetings, or how's your attendance been?
With the exception of me having to attend my brother's funeral in December, I've only missed one meeting.
Mm-hmm. Does the board meetings allow Zoom meetings? meetings for members that may not be in person? Is that allowed during the board meetings?
Yes, it is.
It is. Do you feel that is a disconnection between the board meetings, or do you think Zoom is a good medium to have in important board meetings like K-State's?
I think the intent is to make sure that board members are in attendance at the quarterly meetings for sure, Zoom meetings when you can't attend. But yes, I think in-person meetings are important.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? Mr. Ramsey, thank you so much for being here today and answering a few of our questions. We appreciate that. We're not. Yeah, we're just discussion only. Sorry, we're just discussion only at this point. But thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Smith would like to.
I just want to make a comment. As a graduate of the University of Florida, I really appreciate having in the Commonwealth of Kentucky those people who have the wisdom to make their permanent residence in Kentucky after graduating from university school. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, the next item is Senate Resolution 136, which is a resolution addressing the reappointment of Gerald Patton, and I believe Mr. Patton is on Zoom. Mr. Patton, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I believe we can hear you. Try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, if you could turn your volume up, that would be great. It's coming in a little low.
Okay, let me just see if I can. Now, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. I think we can hear. Mr. Patton, could you, we'll give you a couple minutes here to discuss your position at K-State and give us an introduction to who you are, and then we have a few questions.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
just take a privilege. I have to be in the Judiciary Committee meeting. Could I register a yay vote on House Bill 506, House Bill 329, and House Bill 522? Oh, we passed over.
We passed over 507. Yes.
Okay. Good deal.
Yes, we note your yay votes. Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Patton. Now the floor is yours. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, senators and others. I am pleased to be here this morning. It's actually afternoon your time to talk about Kentucky State University and the Board of Regents. I am presently the chair of the Board of Regents. My educational background, I'm actually an alum of Kentucky State University. I graduated there in 1969 in history and political science. I went on to receive a master's degree at Western Illinois University in history, and then the PhD in history at the University of Iowa. So it is indeed an honor for me to come back full circle to serve our institution. As I've said, I'm presently the chair of the Board of Regents. As you know, in April 27th, the new board was established after the old board having been abolished by House Bill 250. So we hit the ground running this board of 11 individuals, 8 appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate, and then 3 who come from the university. Most boards of regents at state universities meet 4 times a year, that is quarterly meetings. We have met since April 27, 2022. We have had 25 meetings, 16 board meetings, which included quarterly and special call meetings, and over 9 committee meetings as well, bringing a grand total of 25. The work of this board has been constant, and I'm so impressed and so pleased that we have the commitment from the members of the board who really work for the edification and the strengthening of Kentucky State University. The board has been involved in a series of professional development and training with CPE, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, AGB, and with the Gardner Institute and an Equity and Student Success Program. So the board has had a lot of opportunity now to strengthen itself, its professional development as well. Initially, when we became the board in April of last year, one of our major mandates was to search for an interim president, which we did in record time, and we brought in a new administration. We have now commenced a search as per HB 250 for a permanent president. That has been established. A committee of national firm has been appointed to help us in the national search for the president. We have acted on a number of items. Those have just not been meetings where we have had ponderous discussion. Those have been meetings where this board has been taking action. We now get periodic updates on the legal status of the institution, including all litigation for the university. We also get updates on the finances of the administration of the university and how we're doing in that regard. One of our committees is the Finance and Administration Committee. That committee meets regularly to discuss the finance and administration of the university. And we also have a audit committee that also meets along with the Academic Affairs Committee. So this has been a board that has hit the ground running. And within less than a year, we have had, as I said, over 25 meetings, special call meetings that we have, and executive meetings that we have had to hold in order to meet the pressing agenda of the status of Kentucky State University. So I'm pleased to be able to serve on this board, and all of our efforts are towards the betterment of this institution. One of my mantras is a well-informed board is a well-read board, because we have voluminous documents and information that we must review in order to take the stands and steps that we need to right this ship of Kentucky State University. So I think that's sort of an overview. I would be happy to entertain questions from members of the committee and others on Kentucky State University and the Board of Regents.
Very good. Very good, Mr. Patton. Our time is very short here today, but we do have several questions lined up for you, Senator Thayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to the committee. Dr. Patton, it says here that you live in Rancho Mirage, California. Is that true?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How many days are you on campus during the course of a year?
I have not been on campus during the course of the year. I have met all meetings, all of those 25 meetings. I have been involved in all of those meetings. The travel has been I have not been able to travel mainly because of the COVID crisis, but I do intend to be at quarterly meetings and other meetings when possible, and graduation and those activities.
Do you think it's the best step to take for a university that is under financial duress to have its chairman living 3 time zones away?
Well, the issue is my ability to participate, and any expenses incurred relative to my travel to the campus are expenses that I would bear, and I'm grateful to be able to do that. So it has no expense bearing on the institution. It is the expense that I would bear myself.
Now that COVID is way in the rearview mirror, do you plan to travel more to campus to see what's happening and if the fruits of your efforts are paying off?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Senator Storm has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, my question is, I think you said that from April 27th to 22 that you have participated in 25 meetings. Is that correct?
Yes, so that includes board meetings and committee meetings.
And how many of those have been in person versus how many of those have been on Zoom?
They all have been on Zoom. They all have been on Zoom as provided for in the legislation, that we can, as long as we have a physical place, we can also have attendance by Zoom. And many members attend by Zoom, even ones who are local, because they find it more convenient. So I think more people are coming in now, but it is probably, if I did a survey of the meetings, I would think that most members have participated by Zoom.
Any other questions from the committee? Senator McDaniel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Dr. Patton, we do appreciate your time today. We appreciate your service on the board. You previously were the Deputy Commissioner of Higher Education in New York. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So based off of that, I'm assuming you oversaw the universities in that capacity?
Yes, I did.
So looking at K-State, when you came in, what were your initial impressions then that needed to be done? What are your current anticipated steps that the university will need to take? And then finally, when do you anticipate having the full-time president on board?
Okay, so you're right. As the Deputy Commissioner for Higher Education for the state of New York, I was a state higher education executive officer. So I had oversight of all of the institutions in New York. And interestingly, New York probably has the largest and most complex higher education system because all institutions from Columbia all the way to even our proprietary schools were under the aegis of the Board of Regents, which is the governing board for the state of New York. And you're right, that gave me vast experience about seeing institutions and looking at them. And so I brought that experience, obviously, to Kentucky State University and realized that the situation was very precarious there at the university. There had been constant turnovers and changes in administration, and we must have a stable government administration in order to propel the institution forward. So to answer your question, my immediate concerns was righting what I call the ship that was in serious trouble, anchorless and rudderless, and that we needed to do something about the finances, the administration, the scope of the institution, the vision for the institution and its future. And so all of those things are very critical as we looked at the institution. And those, by the way, are agenda items of the for the board to consider. We have a long ways to go in addressing those matters. Communication is critical. The board must be informed of all of of what is happening at the institution in a more formalized way. So we need to stabilize the administration. We need to improve the enrollment. We need to improve the infrastructure. And I must say that the board has moved to do that. And I'll just share one anecdote relative to how the board has acted in a very major way. One of our esteemed board members happened to be on campus, was in town. He lives out of town as well. And he toured the university campus. He talked with students. He went around all the spaces. And so he came back to the university. He reported his findings to the administration. He then, at a board meeting, asked the chair could he speak. It was off topic of the agenda. We follow our agenda. The agenda is approved. He said, Mr. Chair, may I make a statement to the board? The chair deferred, and I allowed him to make a statement to the board regarding his findings. He talked about what he had seen on his trip around the campus. The board was alarmed at what we heard. As a result of that, the administration moved to look at what we could do about this matter. They came back to the board with pictures. The board declared an emergency on the physical status of Kentucky State University. We understand that if we need to bolster our enrollment, we cannot have a campus that is dilapidated and a campus that is falling apart. That emergency has propelled us into a contract with Tedesco, a company that will bring us to APA Standard 3. That's a standard that is used at universities across the country. 5 is the lowest. Kentucky State was below 5. 3 brings us up to the mid-range, and they have pledged to do that by September. That is the kind of work that our board is doing at Kentucky State University to strengthen it, because enrollment is critical in order for us to survive as an institution.
Dr. Patton, I hate to interrupt you, but where our
okay.
time is very valuable. Are there any other follow-up questions or?
I will, if I could just answer his last question
Yes, sir.
about the presidential search. I think that was part 3 of the senator's question. Yes, the presidential search is underway at this time. We have impaneled a committee, a search committee that reflects the shared governance construct of our institution, including Mayor Lane Wilkerson of the city of Frankfort, who is on that committee. That process has begun, and it is our goal to have that position filled by the end of June, by June 30th, 2023.
Thank you, Dr. Patton. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Dr. Patton, thank you for your testimony. This has been very good for us to understand who these appointments are and their experience. I thank you for being on the call today. Senator Storm has a guest that he would like to introduce, and then Senator Wheeler.
I just wanted to introduce, I think we had some guests that were over in the overflow room. I have my mayor from the City of London, Randall Weddle, here with us today. Thank you for being here.
Senator Wheeler, have a guest?
I see one of my mayors from the city of Louisa, Mayor Harold Sloan, great mayor. I saw he's not necessarily my constituent, but he's a Pike County guy. I saw Mayor Les Stapleton from Prestonsburg out there, another great person. And so glad to see both of them here today.
Thank you. And, Senator Williams.
Just want to indicate I share a very small portion of independence with Mayor Reinersman and the great senator from Scott County. So I think at least 4 or 5 precincts, maybe not that many.
And
so welcome, and also the mayor of Carrollton's here somewhere. I don't see him, Mayor Adams. So
very good. This is the end of our meeting, and this may be our last meeting, may not, but just want to thank our staff for staffing us today and this session. So thank you so much.